Olga Volchkova, my name, full name. My art is about nature. I choose different plants and tell stories about them through images. And it's related to what I've learned a long time ago as an icon painter. Because icons, which are Russian traditional religious art, they tell stories about certain events of the church or saints. So I take the same approach, but without any religious background. So I think plants are very important in our lives. So I'm just trying to bring people's attention to that point. Well, when I started with art very young, and it was a kind of end of Soviet Union time. And friends of mine, they started to paint like little souvenirs for tourists because economy was collapsing and you couldn't make any money. So we were trying just to make some kind of money, and we're painting souvenirs like matryoshkas, nesting dolls and lacquer boxes, and sell them at touristy places. And I really, really loved doing it. I remember first thing I painted, I was so happy doing that, and I immediately started to make very intricate, very unique pieces. And at some point I realized that it was not enough. So I can paint that, but I cannot paint anything else. I decided to go to art school, and program for restoration was opening at my hometown. And I thought, I still think it's pretty magical work to restore old paintings and icons. Kind of some magic in that, and like special powers. That's why I went to art school. And then I was traveling a lot. I was always doing art, always was applying it to some part of my life. Like I learned how to make websites. I was working for one company making websites for them, and they really wanted me to make like hand-drawn websites. I really liked the idea. So I was doing that. I was doing a little bit of design of interiors, exteriors, and all kind of hand-painted details of interiors. Also like that. But at some point I realized like I have so much different knowledge and skills, but I'm still not doing my own art. I was always working for somebody. And kind of it's happened very quickly. I was thinking what is most important, most interesting to me. And at that point I already had a garden, and I was planting a lot of plants and watching them kind of all year round, the way they behave. I was fascinated with that, especially in Oregon, because compared to Russian nature, Oregon nature is absolutely amazing. Like varieties and size and all these gorgeous flowers. That's how I started to paint first garden saints. That was my idea, to paint garden saints. And I started with the exhibit in Germany, in Berlin. It was exhibit called Invisible, and I thought that my idea fits into invisible so well, because saints are invisible. They don't really exist. It's kind of spirits of the garden. And I got in, and it was a very successful show. So it became kind of like a traveling show, and I had a lot of recognition in Europe. And when I got back from Europe, I applied to museum. I wrote to museum, our museum on campus, Jordan Schnitzer. And that time it was a Jill Hart's director. So she replied me right away and offered me a show at the museum. So my German show went straight to museum, and it was so incredible. Actually, speaking about communities, yeah, I was embraced completely here. and it was so easy, so welcoming, and inspiring because of that. To be part of, it's actually very important as an artist to have artist friends and discuss and projects, much more fun.
What brought you to the Pacific Northwest?
It was completely not intentional. I was working, first I came to the US in 98, and the first day I arrived to New York, I was actually working there as a restorer, but it was very hard in the sense of living, and it's very expensive. Especially I didn't have friends or family. So I moved to California because I had friends, and that's why I started to make those websites I was talking about. So I started to learn how to use a computer and how to assemble websites and all kind of graphic art. So that's what I was doing for a couple of years in California. And then I met some friends, they lived here in Oregon, and I moved to Oregon. It was very close to California, but it was much less expensive and much more wild. I like that.